October 1994, a small, quiet restaurant in Hollywood. Actor Tommy Lee Jones leans across the table and tells Jim Carrey, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery. In other words, I hate how you act." This wasn't just a bad day. It was the start of one of Hollywood's coldest feuds. But here's the wild part. Tommy didn't just dislike Jim. He openly hated working with at least 6 major stars. Some he refused to speak to. Others he tried to erase from memory. What could cause a top actor to act like that? And what really happened behind those scenes? We're talking about icy movie sets, secret arguments, and fights that change careers forever. And trust me, one name on this list will completely shock you. But it's the last name, the one that finally broke him, that you won't believe. Let's dive in. Let's start with number 6, Jim Carrey. It was 1995. On the set of Batman Forever, Jim Carrey played the wild, crazy Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones was the dark, serious Two-Face. But behind the camera, things were tense. Jim was always joking, loud, and full of energy. Tommy, he liked things quiet, deep, and focused. The two were total opposites. One night in a quiet restaurant, Tommy leaned in and told Jim, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." In other words, he thought Jim was acting like a clown, and he hated it. Director Joel Schumacher later said it straight. Tommy couldn't stand him. Tommy wanted a dark movie. Jim brought neon energy and wild laughs. It made Tommy furious. Still, on screen, they looked like a perfect team. You'd never know they weren't speaking off camera. But after that film, Tommy never worked with Jim again. And the worst part? Tommy wasn't just annoyed. He felt like Jim's wild style was stealing the spotlight. So, what happens when a co-star doesn't just bother you, but starts to threaten your place in the spotlight? Let's find out. 5. Wesley Snipes. In 1998, the movie U.S. Marshals hit theaters. It was the sequel to The Fugitive, the film that won Tommy Lee Jones an Oscar. Tommy thought this movie was his story, but then came Wesley Snipes, a big action star in his own right. Right away, things got cold. The two barely talked. The crew even joked the set felt like Antarctica. Wesley was used to being the main guy in movies. Tommy wasn't ready to share the spotlight. Their acting styles clashed hard. It got so tense, some scenes had to be shot with body doubles, just so they didn't have to be on set together at the same time. Tommy didn't like being challenged, and Wesley didn't back down. Every moment felt like a power battle. Even worse, Tommy demanded final say on how scenes were done. He wanted full control. 2 stars, 1 screen. But only one wanted to lead, and things were about to get even messier. Because what happens when the person Tommy clashed with wasn't even an actor at all? Number 4, Joel Schumacher. When Batman Forever was filmed, the director was Joel Schumacher. He had a bold idea: make Gotham feel bright, wild, and full of neon colors. But Tommy Lee Jones, he hated it. Jones wanted Gotham to be dark, serious, and dramatic, like the old detective stories. To him, the movie felt too cartoonish. He even called it childish. While Schumacher tried to bring a fun, colorful world to life, Jones wanted it to feel more real and deep. Their ideas didn't match at all. And even though Schumacher said good things about Jones in interviews, Jones never returned the favor. In fact, after Batman Forever, Jones refused to come back for the sequel. That's how much he disliked the style, and maybe the people involved too. Their creative visions were like oil and water. One wanted art, the other wanted entertainment. And in the end, they just couldn't work together again. But maybe the problem wasn't just how the movie looked. What if the real issue was how someone else acted? Someone who took method acting to a whole new level. That's coming up next. 3. Val Kilmer. In Batman Forever, not only was Jim Carrey on set, but so was Val Kilmer, playing Batman himself. Kilmer had a very different way of acting. He used what's called method acting. That means he would stay in character all the time, even during lunch. To Tommy Lee Jones, this was just too much. Jones didn't like Kilmer's intense, serious attitude. He thought it was weird and unnecessary. The two actors had no friendship, no connection. They didn't joke, talk, or hang out. In fact, when Val Kilmer wrote his memoir years later, he didn't mention Jones at all. He completely left him out. And Jones, he did the same. In interviews, he refused to say Kilmer's name. No comments, just silence. But here's the funny part. Even though they didn't get along, that cold feeling between them actually made their scenes feel more real. The tension helped tell the story. Still, working on a big movie like that should feel exciting, right? For Jones, it was more like surviving a storm of clashing styles. One actor was goofy, one was always in character. And Jones? He just wanted to act like a pro, do his job, and go home. But it turns out, even Oscar-winning actors weren't safe from Jones's dislike. Because up next is a name that shocked everyone, and it happened just 1 year later. To Sally Field. In 2012, Tommy Lee Jones starred in the powerful movie Lincoln, playing a key role in one of America's biggest stories. Beside him, the legendary actress Sally Field. Now here's where it gets tense. Sally Field is known for using deep emotional acting. She likes to feel the moment, live inside the scene. Jones, on the other hand, is all about control and precision. He uses a sharp technical style. No extra drama, no warm-ups. So during filming, when Sally was trying to get into character, Jones suddenly broke his own rule. He stepped out of character and told her straight up, "Enough. We're not in the scene yet." That hit hard. Field later admitted that working with Jones was not easy. He didn't adjust. It didn't make things softer, not even for her. But here's the wild twist. Even though they were cold with each other, their scenes in Lincoln turned out to be incredible. They brought real fire to the screen. Sally Field, being the pro she is, later said, "We disagreed, but I respect his craft. They didn't have to be friends. They just had to deliver." But while that clash stayed cold, the next one, it got physical and nearly shut down a set. Let's talk about the actor who actually pushed Tommy Lee Jones too far. Finally, number 1, Steven Seagal. Back in 1992, Tommy Lee Jones starred in a movie called Under Siege. But the real battle wasn't just on screen, it was behind the scenes. With Steven Seagal. Seagal was trying to become a big action star, but on set, people said his ego was out of control. He didn't want to lose any fights in the movie. He wanted to look like the strongest guy in every scene. But Jones, he's a serious actor, and he was not okay with just being someone else's sidekick. The tension exploded. Jones once told Seagal to his face, "I'm an actor, not a prop for you to look good against." That line said it all. The fight scenes got so intense, the crew worried it might turn real. They even had to keep them apart off camera, just to keep things safe. It wasn't just a movie anymore, it was a power struggle. So after all these battles, all these feuds, you have to ask, what was going on inside Tommy Lee Jones that made him clash with so many stars? Tommy Lee Jones didn't hate people. He hated bad acting. Every feud was about protecting real craft. His coldness wasn't ego, it was respect for the work. In a world chasing fame, he chose serious acting. Maybe that's not rude, maybe it's rare. Behind the anger was a deep love for acting. Sometimes, staying true means standing alone. Subscribe for more Hollywood deep dives. Which feud shocked you most? Comment your take below.